Hi, I'm Gloria, and I'm back for week 10 and 11 of applying a growth mindset to Valorant. Work has made my life a lot busier, and I wasn't really consistent with playing Valorant in the previous week, and I've been stuck in Plat 1, and it literally just feels like the worst rank to be in. So during weeks 10 and 11, my mini goal was just honestly to be as consistent in playing as possible. I went into the week with a pretty clear focus of what I wanted to work on. I had planned to continue working on my minimap awareness and also just focus on aim training with my wrist to better be able to micro adjust. But I guess things don't always go as planned, and I was just about to start my period, so I was more emotional than normal and extra sensitive to things that after I played my second comp game on Wednesday, I got like mega stressed and tilted, and I didn't think it was a good idea to play a third game. I was even annoyed at the fact that I was like tilted and emotional, so instead of doing a minimap awareness VOD review, I decided to do a quick emotional VOD review as to why I felt the way I did. After looking at just a few rounds, it was honestly so clear to me. In this split game, one round my teammate was like, "Let's rush A," and I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna clear the left side with my dash." And as soon as the round starts, like we move forward and my Phoenix walls the left side, which is so crazy. And I was like, okay, well, there goes the plan of me dashing to check if someone's there. And then I just like panicked at the time. I'm just like, I was more subconsciously tilted than I had imagined when I was playing the game, because my teammates were honestly nice and they were calming and making plans, but then they were doing things like this. I wasn't really able to look at the minimap well either that game, and it made me think about how my mental just got in the way of my goals, especially playing on a map that I really struggled with. I also think I was more stressed because it was such a close game and I just had to stare at this like almost red carpet screen afterwards. I had this random thought that day that turned into a mini revelation, like, wait, I'm able to look at the minimap more when I'm playing on maps that I'm more comfortable in. Like retaking Haven A site, I've done it so many times that I know when it's safe for me to look at the minimap. Okay, except for when it's like really chaotic. But in the Lotus example that I talked about 2 videos ago, I had no idea how to retake Lotus A site, which is probably why I wasn't able to read the situation from the minimap properly. So maybe instead of focusing on looking at the minimap and reading it like I said I would, I was like, what if I just continued to focus my attention on better understanding how to play each map? I didn't want to change my focus mid-week though, so I didn't quite come to an actionable next step, but this kind of lingered in the back of my mind for these next 2 weeks. Regardless of this whole minimap versus map revelation, I decided it was better to focus on not getting too tilted or stressed the next day so I could actually just play the game, because I was still so emotionally sensitive. To be more conscious and aware of my emotions, I thought it would be interesting to literally say the words out loud, "I'm emotional because..." at the end of every round. I learned this in my last video, and I think doing this little activity at the end of every round brought more awareness to what I was feeling. I'm basically making the assumption that I was emotionally reacting every round, and I'm gonna figure out why by reflecting at the end of every round. I did this for pretty much the entire first game, but it was a bit of a stomp, so I'm not really sure how effective it was, but regardless, it did help me after a few rounds to play more consistently as the top frag. In my second game, I played Brim on Fracture, and holy shit, I had 2 silvers and 2 gold, so my mental, I don't know, something about this rank disparity was like really bothered me. I was like, did I fall so far behind? Okay, so anyways, we started off the game and my team literally like could not hold anything on defense. We had 4 people on A site and they still couldn't hold site. So I tried saying that I'm emotional because, but I was actually so tilted that I started forgetting to do it. I felt like my team couldn't do anything and I just didn't know what to do. Also, my KO was so bad and he was talking shit and calling me a baiter, and I was just like really triggered by him. Anyways, I think I could have benefited a lot if I just stuck to this whole practice that game, but I did end up practicing this over the week, and it got to a point where I was able to understand my emotions more objectively. If I keep doing doing this, I'm gonna have like next level emotional awareness skills in Valorant. So Dopai had a lecture on aim training in the dojo, which you should join, and it both solidified a lot of my learnings over the weeks while also opening my eyes to how straightforward the process of aim training is. Or aim training for Valorant at least. I basically learned that I struggled with similar issues that Dopai did when he first got coaching from Minigod. So to be honest, I haven't done an in-depth review of what my strengths and weaknesses are, but I can say with full confidence that lack of micro adjustments and aiming at moving targets are pretty large issues when it comes to my aim in-game. Those issues are what Dopai struggled with, so I was like, hey, perfect, I'm just gonna do this aim routine that Minigod created for Dopai. I did this routine for about like 10 to 15 minutes after I played comp games, and I'm not gonna lie, I did it like pretty inconsistently, but I was just really trying to maintain the habit, and despite the inconsistency, I was able to improve my scores across some of them over the 2 weeks. And like, dude, at the end of week 2, I actually felt like my micro adjustments became more consistent while I played comp games, like noticeably. I didn't think I would be able to notice it so quickly, but it seems like this was just a really low-hanging fruit for me. I struggle a lot with being able to read and aim at moving targets, so I'm just gonna continue doing this routine for another 2 weeks or so. Okay, I was like mega inspired by Zasco3's channel because he started doing mechanics coaching, and I feel like watching him explain mechanics concepts like completely unlocked something in me. The one thing that was really eye-opening was that basically like when you slice the pie, you should be ready to micro adjust and aim if you see ahead. Like I should literally be pausing for what, like 200 milliseconds or so just to be ready to aim after I slice the pie. I took the reaction test to see how I compare to the average, and it seems like my reaction speed is pretty good, so nice. Anyways, I thought this concept of pausing was like mind-blowing because I struggled with the slicing the pie concept so much. Like, okay, I get what it means to slice the pie, but I'm doing it and I still can't shoot people's head if they're there. So like, what's the point of this, you know? But the concept of like just being ready to shoot after, it's like so simple, but I just wasn't doing that. So yeah, I practiced this a little in deathmatch, and I sliced the pie and tried to wait a bit and sometimes pretended to aim at someone's head even if it wasn't there, just to get the practice in. Another thing I learned from Zasco3 was how to clear space and peak angles with proper mechanics, and what my ideal state was supposed to look like while clearing angles. I'm sure you've seen my clips by now, and they look nothing like what the ideal state looks like. He mentioned how you should practice routing around the map with like perfect mechanics and crosshair placement so that when you're in a comp game, you don't have to think twice about it and it just comes naturally. I honestly didn't spend extra time doing this yet, but I decided to think about my mechanics while playing my comp games and in my death matches in between those comp games. By the end of the week, you could literally see the difference this concept had made. Like in this clip, I was tracing the angle because I wasn't sure exactly where the globe was, but after I heard she was back sight, I started to slice the pie with good movement and micro adjusted to the close head without panicking. Another thing that really helped me was going into a custom game with Tam and practicing clearing common angles on Icebox, which is like one of my worst maps right now. And the thing that really stuck with me throughout my games in week 11 was this concept of like swinging at full speed when I pre-aim common angles. The other thing that stuck with me was that I need to keep moving with like wide movements if I want to be able to survive the fight after missing the first shot. This was actually so game-changing. Every comp game I went into, I had so much more confidence peeking into common angles because of this practice with Tam. It was like so straightforward in my head. Like if I swung too slowly, I would just die. And if I choked up, like after I saw someone and kind of stopped pressing A and D really widely, I'd also die. So I just applied this same mindset in my comp games, and I honestly think this helped me succeed like the most in my recent games. I went from pretty significantly inconsistent to being a way more consistent player. There were like 2 or 3 days where I either MVP'd or team MVP'd most of my games. And yeah, okay, there's like this one exception where I duo queued in a Diamond 1 average lobby and I wasn't sober, so we can just ignore that one. Okay, this is the last thing, and it's that I stopped consistently VOD reviewing after I started my new job because I just like couldn't find the time for it and just wasn't motivated. So I decided to upload a really close game that I had on Icebox to YouTube, so it was just more accessible for me to watch and just like increase the chances of me watching it, you know? And this was actually like so game changing because I could just like easily watch it in bed after I woke up, while I was on the toilet, or even like just on the train while commuting somewhere. I was really trying to just like ingrain these mistakes into my head so that I can address them in the future and then just like not make the same mistakes. I chose this 12 to 14 overtime game on Icebox because, yeah, I made a lot of stupid mistakes and I could have easily won us the game. After watching this a few times throughout the week, I ended up practicing some like routing and entering that I struggled with in a custom game. I didn't realize like how much the enemy smoke threw me off, so I literally just played as Brimstone and practiced entering like with smokes. Okay, cool. I tried my best to keep this video as short as possible, but it's like, dude, it's so hard. I feel like I learned so much even though I'm working and I am a yapper. So yeah, thanks for watching and I'll see you in possibly 2 weeks from now. Bye!